What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music. And today on my show, we are going to talk about a pretty interesting subject. And it kind of all started because of something that's kind of really popular right now, Tiger King. And essentially what today's show is going to be about are people who faked it to make it and also used ghost singers as well too. So my wife suggested this idea to me, and originally she just thought I should just probably cover Joe Exotic, sorry. But essentially I felt like it was just too small of a blimp, and that there's a few issues like this where someone is either vocals have been used for something, or they have had their song taken by a big artist. So I got a few here and we're going to talk about, but before we get started, I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for showing support and love, and anybody who is just coming onto the show and listening to the show, man, I greatly appreciate you listening. It's really awesome. And like I said, if you'd like to be a guest on my show, or, you'd like to, throw some show ideas like my wife does at me, hit me up on Twitter at podcastofblue, or Instagram and Facebook at Blue Presents a Podcast. All right, guys, let's get the show rocking. All right, guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. In today's show, we're talking about artists like the Tiger King, Joe Exotic, who faked it, or, artists who enlist other singers to help them make some of their shockingly big hits. And the first one we're going to start off right off, I think it's kind of like a messed up situation, and it has it kind of established something for Vocalist that I guess apparently before this wasn't established before. And it's CNC Music Factory and Black Box didn't credit Martha Wash for her vocals on songs like Gonna Make You Sweat, which is Everybody Dance Now, everyone knows that song, and 6 songs on Black Box's 1989 Dreamland record. She's responsible for getting credits for vocals, and also made a lot of politicians enact some legislation to kind of make sure that what happened to her doesn't happen to anybody else. And essentially, her claim to fame before this situation, before having to sue these artists for her credit, was that she was a part of the female duo group, the Weather Girls, who's like really famous for probably one of the biggest songs, which was It's Raining Men in 1982. It's like a big deal. So for her lawsuit with Black Box, essentially she settled with RCA, which was their record label, and she settled by signing an 8-year contract, where they promised her that they would promote her name, her likeness, and videos. And I think that's really cool because out of it, obviously she's a talented artist, because a lot of these songs that she was on, they kind of went platinum, man, especially like Everybody Dance Now. Everybody knows Everybody Dance Now. It's like the anthem to every sports game right now, or not sports games, but, sporting events and stuff like that. Also, the really shitty part of, her being on the Everybody Dance Now song, which is she was paid less than $1,000 for her vocals on it, and was told that her vocals were just going to be used as background. And then when she heard the song, clearly that wasn't the issue, what happened. They actually used her vocals, and just had someone else in their music video. Now, the cool thing about this whole situation, besides the fact that, certain politicians felt like we needed to enact some legislation on, not crediting vocals, was that pretty much every lawsuit that she filed, she either won or settled out of court, which is awesome. So, it's positive when something like this happens and the actual artist who made, whatever it may be, vocals or whatever, got their basically got their justice. And I think that's like super cool and super awesome. So shout out to Martha Wash. Yeah, man, I think that's crazy, man. And a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, who listened to that song in the 90s are probably like, what the fuck? I didn't even know that. Or you did know that, and you're just like, shit, I forgot about that, which is crazy. So my next one is a little controversial, but unfortunately the evidence is surmounting against this artist on what we like to call ghost singers, which essentially is basically she's singing on the song, but in the background there is a clear, distinctive vocalist that is either not accredited, unknown, or is a very known artist and wasn't given the credit, or maybe they were given the credit. Who knows, man? But it's crazy. Jennifer Lopez apparently has been widely regarded as using ghost singers. Now, it's not to say that Jennifer Lopez can't sing. There are some songs that I've heard from J-Lo where, it's actually J-Lo's voice. But some of these songs, especially because a lot of them have to deal with her early hits, her early success, it's kind of shocking. And just to kind of name a few of the songs, which is If You Had My Love, which was like basically like her launching point, Waiting for Tonight, which was like a club anthem for like forever, Feeling So Good, which had Big Pun and Fat Joe on it, and like a ton of other songs in which J-Lo either had someone else's vocals or sang over someone else's vocals and kept them in the song. Now, with the song Feeling So Good, it featured vocals for Feeling So Good, and Waiting for Tonight featured vocals from unknown singers that, when vocally isolated, were clearly not Jennifer Lopez's vocals, which is crazy to me. The song Waiting for Tonight is actually a cover of a Canadian Europop group called Third Party, in which she recorded her own version despite not even liking the song. She didn't even like the song. But the really crazy part was she actually ended up keeping the group's vocals in the chorus, which is crazy to me that you would even have the balls to, one, not like somebody's song, but have the nerve to keep their vocals in the fucking chorus, which is crazy to me. Also, her song Play, which was written by a young Christina Milian, features Christina's demo vocals, in which she just pretty much kind of sang over it and kept Christina's vocals, turned them up, which is crazy as shit to me. And that is just just blatant. I don't know. To be honest with you, I feel like it's kind of disrespect. But there are a few other songs that she has done this. Another one is the Ja Rule song. I can't remember the title, but it's actually Ashanti's vocals and not her vocals. And in an interview where Ashanti talked about the song, she was not too particularly happy that the fact that she was not in the music video and she wasn't either given the credit or whatever the case may be. She was absolutely pissed off about the situation. But like I said, once again, it's crazy to me, and before I continue on, I want to give credit to a YouTuber, Black Femininity TV, for the info on J-Lo. She has a whole entire video. If you want to go watch it, it's crazy, man. And it's about like 12, 13 minutes. And it just kind of breaks down, certain songs and certain things that J-Lo has done where it's another artist using it, and it will blow your mind. Once again, check it out. Black Femininity TV on YouTube. Check her out. She's got some other good videos as well too. So not just that one, just check out a couple of her other videos. Now this next one was a maybe, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but never happened kind of deal. And I like to keep it in because this would be very, very, very interesting if we would have gotten this record if it was completed, which is Ollie Sykes and Jordan Fish of Bring Me the Horizon were tasked with helping Limp Bizkit write an album that never happened. And pretty much the reason was Fred Durst wasn't really into it, or he just wasn't motivated by the fact that the record label had brought somebody in to help him write songs, which I thought was crazy. And like I said, it never happened because Fred Durst kind of he didn't either show up, or when he did show up, he kind of was just kind of trying to show them up, I've been doing this for forever. But also at the same time, a lot of people, if anything, I think that speaks to a testament of what Bring Me the Horizon's doing, that they felt, record labels felt so strong about how their success is going that they're like, can you help an artist? Which basically, let's face it, Limp Bizkit was like a staple of nu metal for so fucking long. And I'm sure the fact that they were told, hey, we need you to put together a record, we're sending in some people to help you write it. I'm sure for Fred Durst, that was probably like a kick in his fucking ego. And I don't know, man. That's kind of crazy. And in an interview I read, Ollie Sykes says he's a nice guy, but his heart wasn't into it, And I don't know, man. There's some crazy stuff. And from what I understand, some of the stuff that they did write with Limp Bizkit was used for the album Ammo, And I guess they used, some particular parts. So if you hear some parts in that album that sound kind of like they belong in a new metal record, it's probably because it was written for Limp Bizkit, which, like I said, this is a coulda, woulda, shoulda, but an interesting one, because like I said, it just speaks to what Ollie and those guys in Bring Me the Horizon are doing, that record labels view their success as something to either want to copy or want to rub off on somebody else, which is very, very interesting. All right, guys. So the last one I'm going to talk about is, the inspiration for this show. We're going to talk about Joe Exotic, man. Come on now. How could we not talk about Joe Exotic and his quote unquote music career? So first off, his songs were produced, recorded, and by a guy named Vince Johnson. And the artist that actually sang the vocals, his name was Danny Clinton. Unfortunately, in October, Danny Clinton passed away from complications of some type of heart issue that he had. And in reading the Vanity Fair interview in which they were talking about what they would do, is essentially what happened is Vince stated that Joe Exotic would just give them a subject and they would just kind of write it, record it, and use it. Essentially what it was for was, he told them that, they were going to get some notoriety if he did it. So if they did it, because he was trying to get his reality TV show on TV, which obviously because of everything that's kind of gone on, it didn't happen that way. But essentially they were doing the work for free in order to, like I said, he was, dangling, popularity and success and whatever the case was. Now, here's the interesting part of the whole situation, which is they didn't know that he was actually making music videos with these songs. They thought this was going to be used particularly for the show, just to kind of, have them in there. And what ended up happening is they discovered that he was using these songs and passing them off as his own songs by watching YouTube, which is fucking crazy to say the least. And the fact that he convinced them and had the balls enough to make music videos and pass off what he was doing as their own, as his own, is insane. It blows my mind. And it just, once again, like I said, this is one of those things, where it's crazy how popular this guy is now. Certain people either villainize him, certain people are like, get him out of prison or whatever the case is. And then you got people who are just like, wow, this guy's just, his whole thing is just bullshit, and that's kind of sad, man, because the songs are actually pretty good, but the problem is it's not him. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I think it's kind of sad that, the guy who's the vocalist, Danny Clinton here, has passed away. So he didn't even get to experience the success. And I'm sure, him and Vince Johnson, or, I'm sure whatever his family or Vince Johnson are trying to, probably sow Joe Exotic for the bullshit that, is kind of gone on. But anyways, if you think there's some artists that I missed, if you think there's some great travesties in music that people should know about, man, hit me up. Like I said, man, you can reach out to me on Twitter at Podcast of Blue, or on Facebook and Instagram at Blue Presents a Podcast. Thank you guys for listening to today's show. Keep on rocking, guys.